Why do appraisers adjust comparable sales? It depends. But don't worry, I'll explain. Last week, we talked about what makes a good comparable sale. Now, let's talk about adjustments. Not the mechanics, but why appraisers make them in the first place. Adjustments aren't guesswork. They're how appraisers reflect buyer reaction to physical and market differences. Comparable sales are rarely identical to the subject property, and unless a comparable is a model match, including market conditions, adjustments are needed for things like differences in size, condition, features, and market change. So appraisers adjust the comparable sale, not the subject, to account for those differences. The entire purpose of the adjustment process is to make the comparable sale as close to the subject property as possible. The subject is the target. It doesn't move. That's also why the effective date matters, but that's a different topic. One area I see confusion is around concessions. If a comparable sale includes a concession that influences its price, that impact must be accounted for with an adjustment. However, when the subject property includes concessions in a purchase transaction, no adjustment is made. That's because we don't adjust the subject's terms to the comparable sales. Concessions can impact the subject's price, but not its value. When an appraiser makes an adjustment, they need to understand the market-based difference, reflect the market reaction, and apply the adjustment consistently across the comparable sales. The goal isn't to force sales to match a number, it's to reflect market reaction consistently. That's the principle of substitution at work. And here's a good tip. When adjustments are applied properly, something interesting happens to the value range, which is how appraisers test whether the analysis holds together. Tune in next week for more details. Got a question? Drop it in the comments for next week's Ask NAN, because the answer to any good question always starts with "it depends."